Welcome to Sacred Wandering with Keira. My friend, this is a corner of the world where time stops, where the noise in our minds quiet, where we have soft hearts and we open our palms and we ask. This is a place where we receive. I invite you to join me as we wander through the sacred together. Welcome to Sacred Wandering. Good morning, my love. Here we are. We've made it into our prayer corner, into our sacred spaces to sit at the foot of God. We're going to take a nice deep breath in. And today we're just going to breathe it in all the way to the tips of our toes, grounding us in completely. And then we're going to begin by seeing this beautiful divine love, this mist of love around us. And we're going to breathe the love into ourselves and we're going to breathe out fear. And I want you to actually see the fear start to dissipate and then leave your body like a mist. And it goes straight into the divine light, which means it disintegrates because anything that's not light cannot exist within the presence of light. Hence, just physical light and darkness. When the sun arises, the night dissipates. There's never been a day that night existed when the sun was here. It's not a thing. And so when we allow fear to leave our body, it's going into the divine love that is surrounding us, disintegrating it within the presence of such magnificent light. So I love to place my palms up to the heavens, soften my shoulders. And then as we breathe in, I want you to see this love coming in through the very pores of your being. Breathing in all the way to the very edges of your body. And as you breathe out, letting go of all the fear. Breathing in the love. And out. And again. And letting go of any fear. Letting it all leave the body. We're going to ask for a special blessing that every one of your cells will be wrapped in the environment of love. And as your cells are wrapped in the environment of love, they may move towards miracles. I'm reading a phenomenal book called The Biology of Belief. And in this book, The Biology of Belief, I'm learning so much about our patterns. And it all comes down to the environment our cells are in. And that is why we're doing this. We are literally physically changing your cellular structure to match the frequency of miracles so that we may walk this earth as miracle workers. So we may claim our rights as miracle workers. So we're going to begin today with a message that I received from God during a very hard time. I feel like that's been the theme this year, yes? I have a lot of good times, but when I'm coming to God, I am actually in the inquiry of such intensity of doing things that I never understood how to do until now, and nor do I even know how to do it. And so I'm going to God saying, show me the way, show me how to move through all of this. And this message came to me, and I didn't fact check this. Okay. So sometimes God teaches me things that I don't know if they're true. I mean, I guess they are because God is teaching them to me, but I didn't fact check this. I don't actually know if this is true around the seeds of pinecones, but this is what God said to me. So this is the words that God said. The seeds of the pinecone cannot be released without a fire. The forest fires are essential for the death of the old and the new pine trees to be born. You, my love, are going through your fire. Embrace the death of the old and allow for the new to arise forth. So I want you to feel this message, because maybe you're in your forest fire right now. And maybe it feels like all that you've ever built is crumbling. Or maybe it feels as though the life that you thought you were going to have just burned in front of your eyes. Or maybe you just feel like you're burning, because you are. You see, to sit at the foot of God, to ask God for guidance, to receive it and then do it, means that all of your old patterns must burn. For your old self wasn't doing what you're doing now. Your old self didn't receive how you're receiving now. And yet we cling to our old selves like we want the shadows to stay. But we all know this, that when the light is turned on, the shadows leave. And yet we fight for them. We fight for our old selves because we only know that, and it is comfortable. And it is the thing that has been walking with us for a very long time. These patterns have been with us longer than most of our friends. These patterns have ran our lives. And so we feel almost indebted to the old self because it has gotten us here. But one of my favorite quotes is, what got you here won't get you there. I have no idea who said it, but it's such a great one. What got you here will not get you there. And while your old self and these patterns and loops got you here, they for certain will not get you to where you're going. And for certain will not get you to where God is guiding you. I think often of the stories of Christ and people having demons released from their body. Interesting enough, we don't really have that conversation. That's not on the news. We're not seeing people being released of demons anymore. It's like that was such a thing, right? During Christ's time. And I was thinking about it. And I was thinking, but isn't that what it is when we release we release old trauma loops that have governed our actions, our thoughts, the results in our lives? When we release the old trauma loops, it's as if we are releasing demons, because they are not us, and it is not truth, and we are of light. And so this is not an easy path to release old patterns. And it is easy when we work with God, because we can actually change them down at a cellular level. So I share all of that to say there will be moments that it will not feel easy, and you will fight for your old self. But I invite you to release these old patterns, the old ways, the old loops. And it usually happens when it feels like we're in the fire. But the fire is meant to crack open the new seeds. And so today, as we go into prayer, I invite you to pick up whatever is not serving you, or pick up the loops that you keep getting stuck in, or pick up the old patterns that you're ready to release. And we're going to put them straight into God. And we're going to ask that God will transfigure these into the frequency of miracles, and that we may be free from them. And then we're going to ask that Christ may touch our cells, that our cells may know the frequency of love, that our cells may match the blueprint of God, that we may be as God has called us to be. Take a nice deep breath in as you watch the cellular restructure occur. And then we're going to ask for a sealing. This will be sealed in love by God with a blessing. We're going to ask that God will place his hands on our head to give us a blessing, that we may receive the words that are for us individually today. And I'm going to be quiet while you pray and listen. And take a nice deep breath in, allowing whatever you receive to land into the very being of who you are. These words start to be printed within us. For we are holy text. We are walking holy text. For the words that God gives us molds us. And in the molding, we become. And so now we're going to open our palms and we're going to ask to receive what message, God, would you have, let's restart. We're going to ask to receive what is the number one action that God would have me do today? What is the number one action that God would have me do today? You're going to listen. They're going to write it down. And then you're going to ask your angels that they will help you take this action today. And then I invite you to give your angels assignments. So I always call in all of my children's angels. I call in all of my children by their name. I call in their angels and I ask their angels to walk with them and protect them today. I call in my angels and I give them assignments. I ask them to go out and find the people who need to write the most sacred books. And I ask them to bring them to me. I ask that my angels will help me get on the podcasts that are going to reach the masses so that I can help more people hear the voice of God for themselves, that I may help them write the most important books of this time. And that is what I do with my angels every morning. So I invite you, as you see my example, how can you work with your angels today? What assignments can you give them? And then we hand it over to God. I want you to remember that there is a version of you who has already done everything that you see. There's a version of you that has walked with God, talked with God, created the visions, and has already done it. And as we leave today, I invoke a blessing that future self, the one who has already done it, may show up today with you and walk with you, that you may be one with your future self, that you may arise as the being that knows exactly how to do what has been called of you. For it has already been placed in your blueprints. And now we just activate them. I want to thank you for wandering with me into the sacred. And I will meet you here in our prayer corner tomorrow morning. Thank you for wandering into the sacred with me today. If this episode moved or inspired you, I encourage you to share it. Think of someone who needs this message today and text it to them. Let's add more light to the world by welcoming people into our prayer corner together. I also want to invite you to create your own prayer corner at home, a space set apart where you can return again and again to hear God's voice. To support you, I've created the Sacred Space course, which guides you step by step in locating, creating, and dedicating your very own sacred space. You're also welcome into the Sacred Wandering Facebook group, where you can share the blessings that God is giving you and be uplifted by others walking this path. You can find both of these resources in the show notes, or just send me a DM on Instagram at Keira Brinton, and me or my team will send them directly to you. I want to thank you for being one of the rare humans who chooses to sit at the foot of God, to ask, listen, and do. And as always, I want to thank you for wandering into the sacred with me.